So when I was a kid, every year around Christmas, I would put this same thing on my Christmas list, and it was a camcorder. I had this desire, I guess, from watching those old '90s films about making a story. And I wanted to make a movie. Just I wanted to, tell stories. I didn't know exactly that's why I wanted to do it, but in hindsight, that is the reason why I wanted this camcorder. Now, they were crazy expensive, and I remember going through the aisles of Radio Shack. Yes, that kind of dates me if you know what Radio Shack is. Um, and even though that I tried to put, the lower end camcorders, that was not happening for my family. And so Heartbreak never did get one of those camcorders. Not to feel too sorry for me because little did I know, or did any of us know, that in years to come, we will be carrying around a device that was superior in at least some ways as those camcorders. Definitely more practical. Talking about these things, cell phone, and that is the first step in how we created our own feature film in under 100 days. Welcome back to the channel. Subscribe. My name is Steven, and normally we talk about Christian art and geek culture. And today I'm just going to kind of nerd together and blend it all together with telling you how we made a film, a little short movie, in under 100 days. And I guess by the we, I should let you know that this was done primarily by my own church. I should back up and explain to give some context. So every year, for as long as I remember, we put on this Christmas play, a little performance we do every year, um, usually about a week before Christmas Day. And for obvious reasons, depending on where you see this, it may or may not be obvious. I'm recording this in the year 2021, and the thing that's been hovering around the planet's head for about 2 years now, still going on. Not as bad as when it first started, but it made, at least in 2019, no, 2020, and even this year, large groups together, which every time we will put this production on, we always have a large group that will come and see us. And that was not doable last year. So we decided to record it, mostly in front of a green screen. And we put it on video. I made a video about this last year. We recorded we're still calling it always a play, but it made like a little short film, and we acted in front of most of it, much of a green screen. We put it online, and it was well received, at least by our community. This year, we was afraid that it was going to happen again. We didn't know what was happening. We're going to be in lockdown, shut down. So we decided to go ahead and record just in case. And even though we didn't go into a shutdown, it didn't get nor as bad as it did in 2020, we were already committed, and people saw what we did last year, and they wanted more of it. So this led to us doing this film thing. Now, as I said, the year before, we filmed a lot of this, most of it in front of green screens. But we found that the scenes that looked the best are the ones we did out on locations. So aside from a few scenes here and there, most of this film was done entirely doing various sets, around the city, really. Um, but I should start at the beginning, the writing. I believe it was September and October is when the writing took place. So my part in this, I am co-writer. I was one of four writers onto the project. I was also one of the main actors in our film, and we spent a good chunk of that 2 months just writing the project. Now, for context, uh, I'm saying my church, but it's also another church. We're all connected. It's like our sister church. And normally we do separate productions. Like last year we did separate productions. This year we decided just to pool our resources together and come together one big project. And this kind of helped a lot because it broke down the responsibilities that each group had to do with actors and with the script, and we put our both our scripts together to form one cohesive, writing, you know, movie. That. Uh, it also helped when it came to the actors. Sometimes we couldn't fill a certain role, so since we all said we're all making the same film anyway, so some of us could float between the two movie sets, saying movie sets very loosely. Um, but kind of at the beginning of what we're going to use to film all this, like I said, we use our cell phones, and even I'm holding this up. This is not what we used. Um, I'm not an Apple fanboy at all, but I have Apple devices, and even though I use Android as my main phone, it was better for us to use iPhones because that is what most of the cast has, and it's better to keep things in a similar format. And I'm a big proponent of using tech and equipment that you either already have or can easily get. And yeah, the thing might look better if we all went and got DSLRs. Wow, I said that so wrong. Uh, but it wouldn't be practical. It'd be really expensive, and it just wouldn't work out. So we all use iPhones, iPhone 12s and 13s. We did a 4K at 30, and came out great. We make sure to kind of try to film it at all similar frame rates. I won't bore you with getting all the technical details, but that is the tech we use, and it's amazing when you kind of think about it of how good something could look just coming out of a modern day cell phone. So the tech, obviously we're talking about the tech was easily accessible to what we already had. The writing, yeah, that took some creativity, but some of it was in fact inspired by stories that we already know. I believe part of it was inspired by a scene from The Chosen. I already said in the videos down the line or a few weeks ago that I still never watched it, but there is one scene that went around a couple years ago, and if you've seen The Chosen, you know that it was heavily inspired a good half portion of the film. The other thing was the locations. I said that this film looked better when we were just at various locations rather than just doing it all in front of a green screen. And for that, we just basically asked nicely. We went to several businesses, restaurants, and just asked them, "Hey, we're a church. Can we film in the corner over there for a scene? Nonprofit. We won't make too much noise." And largely all of them said like, "Yeah, sure." There was a realtor company that let us use their facilities for our classroom scene. This is all take place like in most of take place like in the school setting. Panera Bread. I think there was a coffee shop that let us like that was just okay with us just filming there. We went into a college campus to do a lot of our filming, and it worked out pretty good. There was now this on the other set. Uh, Part of my coworkers or my fellow actors live out in the country, and they actually knew somebody who had sheep, have a sheep farm. I'm from Cincinnati, so I don't got that around here, but they did. So yeah, there's livestock in our movie, and all amplified. So it's a lot of it was just pulling from what we already had, connections we already had. You don't think about this if you was to actually approach make a film or make a movie, you would never think that you have all the tools or the resources to make something like this work. But we did, which is just a testament to how much the bar for entry has just significantly lowered. Now, some of these things, and that just came from just knowing the right people or just knowing the environment. That came with knowing that specific like Panera Bread, knowing that hey, on Sundays, I know that this particular store does not have a lot of people in it, and it wouldn't disrupt your business if we were in here, and we pay for some coffee along the way, um, and what else helped to make this film work was just approaching people. So the last bit of tech that we used was we edited all this on a MacBook. Again, I'm just telling you the tech that we use just for honesty. It's not something I use. I mean, I have a whole bunch of tech, but again, since you're editing all this on iPhones, and you know how frame rate and you know how iPhones record, it's best to do it on Apple's own devices. And so, for all intents and purposes, editing all this 4K footage, because you're not just taking all the 4K footage, you're also putting in audio, you're also putting in B-roll, cutscenes, and transitions, and all this will burn up your computer. So he went out and got the newest M1 MacBook Pro. Well, actually, it's M1 Max. Was that expensive? Yes. Was it doable? Yes. Especially since he turned back in within 14 days. But we're not getting into that. But all this was doable. I want to say that all this was doable. At the end of the day, it was the tech that you already have. It was creativity. It was just communication. A lot of things that helped make this story better was just communicating with one another. And actually, more communication would have made it better. And throughout, I would say 80 to 90% of the process of this, most of us weren't going into this thinking that we're making a movie. A lot of us still had a mentality of, this play, we're working on a play. And, I kind of kept saying, it's not a play anymore if we're not going to live perform it. We're recording it. We're editing what we say. We're editing the scenes. Let's just be real. We're making a movie. And that kind of dawned on us all when we got the clearance to show this film at an actual theater. What we acted, we recorded, we edited, and we had someone, the RJ Cinemas, let us show our movie, to our audience. We showed up, and just to show how hard this was to pull off, but so worth it, we showed that film on 2 p.m. on a Saturday. The editing and the rendering was not complete till 7 a.m. that same day. So crunch time, stressful. If you're going to attempt doing this, I would say, for at least for us, by far the editing was the hardest thing to do. And I'm grateful for my friend who's the director and co-writer, who put up with all of us and who spent, I can't tell you how many sleepless nights and stressful hair pulling out that he had to put up with. But all that was to say that it is very possible to create something kind of great right now. No, if you watch it, and I'm gonna leave a link down to it. There's parts of you could tell this was a bunch of amateurs, and some footage is this looks like it. No, we're not fooling ourselves. We're not thinking that this is going to get any kind of awards or any kind of awards at all. But at the same time, there's moments where I'm looking at this and this looks amazing. It raises to a solid B-level movie. I would tell you that the first 29 minutes is basically just our little kids getting up and saying cute stuff. But after that, that's when our film picks up. But I kind of wanted to encourage anybody who wanted to get into the creativity of it. And maybe you're tech illiterate, maybe you love tech. But this is where I think that the art of the tech really just helps things out and gets a positive message. It is, as I'm filming this, the day after Christmas. But I don't care. We can celebrate Christmas all year long. God bless you. If you have any questions, feel free. Or you like this content, just like and subscribe. But even so, just God bless. And Merry Christmas, day before. And I shall see you next time. God bless. That was a good production. Ooh. That's what the fam.
Is it too good to be true? I want this so much, but don't know if I can trust you. My mind's racing fast, trying to find the red flags I'm used to. All these green lights, are they coming too soon? Caught between red and the green.